versus the Hot Pocket Survivors, and you saw game number 1. Eve too strong. Aurelia's the best right now. A lot of good stuff coming in from World Elite. There was a very promising start for Hot Pocket. Their bot lane was strong, but as things decided to go on, things just fell apart.
Yeah, they really fell behind in farm in the top and mid lane. Top lane, is kind of to be expected. It was just they had no means of shutting down Aurelia, and then they couldn't really force fights. They needed to be able to force, early team fights with Kennen. That's kind of the concern with Why people don't like playing Kennen is that you get the AoE in fights, and that's kind of it. But the AoE can win games very easily if you set up the right fights and use it appropriately. So we'll see what they can do coming in this next game, and if they play a more aggressive top laner that can maybe shut down Aurelia or just ban out Aurelia.
Now I'm looking at the bans coming from World Elite, and they're drastically different from what game number was. They banned out Vladimir and Diana. Deshen's a constant, but Alistar and Gragas instead. So I think they're looking to grab either Vlad or Diana first pick here. To try and set things going down. There's Malphite was also banned last game from Hot Pocket Survivors, so they could also stay with that, or they can also instead swap that out for the Aurelia.
Yeah, I think they're just going to leave open, whatever they feel like. I mean, they're leaving a number of options so that they can't ban all of these champions out. They can get Vladimir now and pick that up, or they could grab Ezreal. They have just a lot of options, and then coming into their 3rd and 4th picks, they're still going to have a lot of options. Hot Pockets isn't going to be able to grab enough in the 2nd or 3rd pick, and they're really, they're leaving open some strong champions that Hot Pockets could also grab and do well with, but it's kind of like, all right, we think that we'll do more with these champions. It's it's just they are a little bit more confident than Hot Pockets. But yeah, grabbing the Vlad first pick.
Vladimir, and it's still ambiguous. Not quite sure where he's going, either top or into the mid. We'll find it out as the picks start to progress. But Hot Pocket, they do have an opportunity to grab up both Sona and Ezreal here, but sticking with the Graves, sticking with the Morgana.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't take the Ezreal.
Yeah, I am too.
Ezreal, yes, Graves did well in that last game, but still, it's going to be Graves versus an AoE team, and now it's going to be Ezreal and Sona. That's just an absolute brutal lane combination. So it's they don't have the Sona pick that worked out well for them last game. So it's going to be tough, and the Ezreal also would have been a little bit safer from someone like Vlad and his AoE. Morgana versus Vlad, I'm assuming it's going to be Vlad mid. They could send Vlad up into the top lane, but World Elite, actual World Elite with Messiah, they sent Vlad mid, and Vlad does very well versus Morgana, actually. So that's kind of a concern for them. Vlad, versus Morgana doesn't have definitive damage, so Vlad can just kind of walk up, transfuse, constantly harass Morgana, and at the very worst, it's going to be a free farm lane for Vlad, which is perfect. Vlad gets to farm. At the best, Vlad can win that lane and bully out Morgana.
And a Vlad with farm is a very dangerous thing, especially hitting into mid and to late game. And yet, there's not a whole lot Morgana can do. And most Morganas only ever get 1 point in the shield just to keep the CC off, and that's not going to be enough to get a maxed out transfuse off of you, and they cannot prevent all of that damage coming on in. Nocturne and Sona being grabbed up here by World Elite, and now now the bans, their bans make a lot more sense too, because Alistar and Gragas, they can be used for the dispersal, can keep Nocturne off of you if he's going to be going for that mid. I think he's going to be focusing quite a bit on the mid also.
Well, the thought process for the Nocturne is they want to use him for counter initiation, because if they go with the Skarner again, and I think if Hot Pockets goes for that, I think Skarner would be a really strong pick. They're probably going to go for the same kind of plans that they had the previous game, where they roam as a team, try and pick up kills. Well, Skarner's very good at that. Nocturne can counter that out. The Nocturne just ults in from a decent distance. So I think that's their thought process. They just want to control the jungle, be able to ult in. So they're happy with that. But switching it up, going to go with the Malphite. I did like the Skarner, but Malphite, he can set up those fights pretty effectively, and they can send Malphite up top. The only concern is if Malphite is in the top lane, he could struggle against Vladimir. Vladimir does very well against Malphite. So does Teemo. If World Elite IPL5 decides to play Teemo, Teemo definitely beats Malphite.
Jarvan going to be grabbed up and actually going to play it safe. You saw them considered Ezreal earlier, but they realized, wait a second, they already picked their Graves. They're not going to, we don't need to take Ezreal away right now. We can just steal the Nocturne just in case they're opting to go for it. But Jace being considered here for the last pick. Jace, very strong top laner, has been left open here. Will seal Malphite into the jungle though. And that's the thing. So going to be a Jarvan top lane, Nocturne into jungle.
Yeah, Jarvan can be a very aggressive top laner. They could also send Nocturne top. It's just not very likely. Some people send Nocturne top. It's not a great lane. You know, I've talked with a couple of people about it in the past. It really feels lackluster. It's just there's not really much special about it. But Jarvan, you know, is a pretty common top laner, so it will probably be Jarvan top. And we'll see where they go with that. Switching it up for Rumble, actually, that's kind of interesting because Jace is just an all-around strong laner. Rumble gives them much better teamfight potential than Jace does. He gives them that great AoE. They have the Malphite to set up Morgana and Rumble, which is going to be a really great AoE team fight. Gives them a lot of potential. However, Rumble versus Jarvan, it's kind of an iffy lane because it's a skill matchup. Rumble, his sustained damage is a lot better than Jarvan's. However, Jarvan has this great, you know, burst damage. He has the initiation. You just dive under Rumble, and then you walk away. And that's going to be really dangerous for Rumble. He's going to be facing a lot of damage. It's going to be really easy for him to die or lose that lane early. So we'll see how Herp Derpster does.
Yes, and then so sticking, like we said before, sticking with the Morgana, sticking with the Graves, things are going to be a little bit more different for Graves. He's got the Soraka paired up with him too. So that's going to be infused for a lot of mana, spamming a lot of buckshot. And the heal is going to keep him topped off, stay in the lane a little while longer. And you saw how well the bot lane was doing. But that's part of that was, you know, the quick kill early on in the jungle onto the Taric. That fed quite a bit of golden experience and a lot of time for Graves in that bot lane too.
This is completely random. This has nothing to do with the game, but I was just looking at the Malphite, and I was imagining him introducing himself to someone, and you can call me Jane. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting name, but yeah, we'll see what they can do. They have a really nice AoE team, but the laning phase is where they're going to potentially struggle because top lane is potentially in Jarvan's favor. It is a pretty even matchup. Bot lane, Ezreal and Sona is definitely in their favor. So that's going to be, you know, a concern for them to deal with the harass down in the bottom lane. And mid lane is going to be Vladimir versus Morgana, which is also in Vladimir's favor. So, you know, once it gets down to team fights, they also have a very strong team. They have really good initiation with WE.i-rocks has really nice initiation with Jarvan, and the AoE follow-up from Vladimir will be very strong. And it's I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see who can win in those situations.
Jarvan going super offensive there into top lane. And also take a look at Vlad here. A lot of extra health, good amount of magic pen and flat AP. Going to be going in the mid, 2190. A lot of extra health on there too, plus the magic resist. That's going to help out immensely there in the mid. He also got the cleanse going on to the Ezreal. Also does not want to be hit by a stray bind, does not want to be slowed. He wants to make sure he can actually get out of there if he's in a sticky spot. Extra mana regen too, so he's going to be looking for a little bit more harass than usual. 2109.
Yeah, no, that's going to be very strong. That's pretty common on Ezreal in a lot of situations. A lot of people we're seeing are starting to run a lot more mana regen on their Ezreal pages, but I don't know. We'll see. Skarner, he will be a little bit faster in the jungle than Malphite, so he can counter jungle Malphite a little bit. He will have that counter initiation, but Malphite, the armor and slows can shut down, Nocturne's DPS. So it'll be kind of difficult for Nocturne. He's going to need to watch out that he doesn't just duel head on with Malphite, but. Malphite is a pretty fast jungler himself. He can get off some really aggressive ganks once he's level 6. The lanes are fairly safe for World Elite, so it's going to be difficult. Like I don't know out of those lanes which one he would prefer to gank the most. Maybe mid, but Vladimir's going to have the pull, so that's going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of opportunity pre-6. He may just decide to sit back, farm, buy those GP10s, and just be a hermit until he does get the ultimate.
Even once he gets the ultimate, I'm not sure where he'll gank. He could gank the top lane. That's probably going to be his best option, is to try and gank Jarvan to snowball Rumble a little bit.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I would actually more straight towards the bot, considering how aggressive Hotbox Survivors were game 1. I think it's safe to assume they're going to be doing the same game number 2. And plus, at the very least, if you're not going to be getting, if the cleanse is not going to be doing anything against the pop-up, but at the very least, you also have a little bit more options potential to grab not just 1 but 2 kills off of that.
Yeah, that is possible. It's going to be, it has to be a concern for Hot Pockets that they don't fall behind in the lane.
Yeah.
Graves and Soraka, it's a lot of armor, so it does help counteract some of the harass from Ezreal. The Graves passive plus the Soraka heals, I mean, that's going to be a pretty significant chunk of armor, but even so, the harass from Ezreal and Sona should be pretty, controlling in that lane. Soraka's just a little bit too passive. You can kind of push all day as Graves with the Soraka with the mana buffs and whatnot. You can just, control the lane by pushing them into the tower. But any early advantages are going to snowball the lanes pretty quickly for World Elite IPL5.
Getting on into the game shortly here. And if you are just joining us here, game number 2, World Elite IPL5 versus Hot Pocket Survivors. Make note again, these are you were not going to be seeing Messiah here. These are this is the World Elite B team actually borrowing the A team's accounts to play in this tournament, just so they can have their presence and actually a whole bunch of stuff that they normally would not have on NA server. And we told them too, hey, you want to play on the NA qualifier, you got to play on NA server, you got to have NA accounts, and they got them. They may not be their own, but they got accounts.
Yeah, they do have accounts. So. I'm kind of curious what the thought process was on the Soraka, because Soraka's burst heals can be very strong. The armor will help shut down Ezreal a little bit. I'm guessing that it might just be that was the most comfortable support they were happy with. I mean, Graves can push all day, but I don't know, in this kind of a situation, the Sona would have been nice. Sona would have been the pick, but having Soraka, it maybe would have been better to have like a Leona go for an aggressive lane, or Taric would be very safe. Blitzcrank, give you a little bit more killing potential, but Soraka is a pretty safe lane usually. So we'll see how Delirium can try and control that bottom lane, and in particular make sure that Graves is farmed enough to have enough damage in the mid game.
Yeah, I think I can imagine though that they're looking for a little bit more team fight control. Like the silence is going to be huge, especially on someone like Vladimir. But also keep in mind that this is still another double AP that is being run here from Hot Pocket Survivor. So we may see a few more points into Star Call than we would normally see from a Soraka for the extra added shred.
Yeah, that might be the case. And late game, that is going to be very strong. The heals will definitely help shut down a lot of the damage. If they're able to kill Vladimir, then having the armor is just going to completely crush the rest of the team's damage and allow them to control the fights against Jarvan, Ezreal, and Nocturne. So, we'll see how that impacts them. Level 1 for both teams, not that great. It's a little bit better on World Elite IPL5, I would say. The Morgana bind is very strong, but otherwise Hot Pockets has a pretty weak level 1. So I don't really expect to see an invade, but if there is an invade, it'll probably be onto Hot Pockets blue.
Hot Pockets also defending the bush right out in front of the blue. Ward going down. For a second there, I thought Soraka was very close to actually peeking on out and getting spotted by that ward. This is like, well, then again, Soraka just edge on in, just shimmy on over passers. Like, oh, let me get to the front of the line. I need to get out of this bush. And the ward is also just, little bit of vision.
Yeah, they saw her.
Just enough to know that they're defending the blue. So that should be more than enough proof for World Elite to actually go in for an aggressive invade. Nocturne leading the charge out first, getting into that brush. They may actually go for an attempt on the red here.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get that fairly easily. Bot lane is moving down, so Ezreal and Sona will be able to grab the mini golems. It's going to be close. I think they're going to get back in time. But I don't know, we'll see how much damage they do in that top lane, how much they take, because that really could set Malphite behind. And Malphite's not a fast enough jungler to really, go in for any jungle invasion on his own. So anything that sets him behind, it will be kind of, it will slow him down a lot. So definitely a good decision on World Elite IPL5's part. And we'll see if they go for an aggressive gank top, perhaps. Jarvan, he really needs to hit level 2, but if Joker can just jungle until Jarvan hits level 2 and meet him up there at that time, they could easily get a kill on the Rumble.
Yep. And Jarvan getting that, don't tell me, is it resetting? No, it's resetting. The red buff reset, that could actually be disastrous for Joker if he does not clear this off in time. And that is the threat of having your top laner leash a buff instead of the mid, because it will still follow, and you do have that possibility for a reset. But he will have to use the smite on it. Not the most ideal situation. If he didn't reset, he could have gotten away without having to use it, but he still got it just in time though.
Yeah, so they do get some nice damage. The invasion works, but you know, we'll see. It does slow down the blue. He was in a situation where if he had held onto the smite, he would be able to take the blue and then walk up level 3 with the double buff at the same time that Jarvan would be hitting level 2, and that would be the perfect timing for that gank. But we'll see already Ezreal and Sona doing some nice harass damage onto both Soraka and Graves. They're really kind of struggling in that lane, but you know, we'll see. Graves is one of the best, you know, at controlling the lane in the game. I think Graves and Soraka, that's actually the lane that Chaos and Xpecial, they used to run a lot, and we saw that all of IPL Face-Off and a number of events.
You got Malphite sticking up top lane, maybe looking for an attempt, looking for a slow onto Jarvan if he gets a little bit too far into the river. And in Rumble, the damage output is high too when you get that heat up, but he needs to be level 3, level 4, have something in all 3 of his abilities to actually even get to that point. And now he has leveled. You got the pop-up just for the escape, and Jarvan will be fine.
Yeah, they
wasted time down top lane.
They don't have enough damage to take him down, so it's there's not really a big hope of them to get a kill there. Malphite, generally speaking, his early levels, you kind of use him as a counter initiator. You want the other jungler to go for a gank, and then you're sitting in the bush already waiting for him. You come out, your attack speed slow completely shuts down their damage, and then you turn it around for a kill. But with Rumble, because Rumble's already very weak in the early levels, there's just not a lot of hope to get a kill there. It does, you know, take a little bit of pressure off of Rumble. It allows him to be safe through these early lanes, keep up with Jarvan, not fall behind ever until he can get to like that level 4 where he's going to be strong enough to exchange damage.
You got Nocturne, he's very low, going to be going back home with that double buff by himself, something nice with the gold he has bought up for himself. Longsword going to be going into the Razors. There's going to be a Wriggles first for the Nocturne, very common on him. Going to be a lot of great objective grabbing later on in, forcing the Ghost and the pool mid lane with the presence from Malphite, very well done. And Herb Derpster on Rumble top lane getting chunked out huge by a relatively healthy Jarvan.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal, but Malphite coming in again. Messiah doesn't have the pull yet and doesn't have the Ghost as well. The bind hits, the pull, the ignite.
Wow.
Tea-time Korea picking up the first blood. Definitely a nice job there. And if you can get ahead as Morgana versus Vladimir, the ultimate, it does hit through the pull.
Yes.
So Morgana could potentially pick up a couple of kills there, could try and snowball that lane. That would be huge for them to start off this game.
And on that first back while he's dead, Vlad actually picks up the lucky pick. So he wants a GP10, he's looking to farm huge in that mid lane, and at the very least, even if farm is even, he's still going to have a slight lead from the extra income the pick will give him. But it's also he potentially looking for a DFG into Vlad, which is not something, you know...
Malphite coming top once again, and this time Jarvan actually might be low enough to go down just by Malphite himself, but it's going to be tricky.
But in the meantime,
they're diving bot.
You got to dive down bot lane. Soraka in a very bad spot to double kill, unfortunately going to the Sona, but will be able to flash out and get out alive. Malphite now going on in, misses the slam. Nice dancing in the bush.
They don't know how to get vision. He's going to juke him out.
Dancing in the bush, looking for the escape. Does finally start getting the slow. Ignite down onto Rumble. May still go down here. Flash in response. Does get the last tick of the Ignite. Then that is all due to fancy dancing on Jarvan's part. Killing just enough time.
Oh, he's going to live too. There's no mana on Jane.
Oh, yeah, they're right. There is no more mana. And the fear proc and the poke coming in from the spear. Jarvan somehow living off of that, and that's all due to fancy bush footwork.
Yeah, they're able to easily turn that around, and that's brutal. You know, it looked like he might be able to get it, but just not enough damage. They didn't know how to get vision. Really, they needed Malphite to run in, but they were concerned that Jarvan was going to just leave. But instead, Rumble got a little bit too close, and Jarvan was perfectly ready to combo him. So, you know, really nice play from Jarvan in the top lane, but that's a huge disadvantage for Hot Pockets already. And Morgana walking into Nocturne, she's going to take some damage. The fear won't actually go off, but she'll be safe to move back. Not that big of a concern, but it does take a little bit of pressure off of Vladimir, who is now pulling ahead in farm.
Yep. So top lane's doing okay. Bot lane's doing okay. Mid lane is very close to being okay. Now has a Greed Blade, and he's also got the GP10, so he should be... and now he's got 6, now he's got the ultimate, now the damage potential is getting pretty huge, especially if Nocturne decides to make a nice visit there in the mid as soon as he hits 6, which will actually be very soon.
And that was the concern coming into the game, that the champ select, the team for WE.i-rocks is just a little bit stronger in the laning phase. They, you know, can easily win the bot lane, and that was the only lane that Hot Pockets was able to win in the previous game, was the bot lane. Now that's going drastically in the favor of WE.i-rocks. the team fighting potential for Hot Pockets is very strong, but it's going to be tough for them to even get to that point.
Yeah. Morgana being past the blue, but of course, Vladimir, he doesn't exactly need it, but when it does, we can also just pass it on over to Nocturne just so he can hit 6 a little bit quicker. Sona still looking for a lot of harass, but here comes Malphite. You're going to see him actually wander on into the bush. The timing is just a little bit off on his presence. You can tell he wanted to look for something. He wanted to get a gank down, but he's also a little bit further away from 6 than Nocturne is. So he might just be in his best interest actually just sit back, farm a little bit, get that 6, and then start ganking once again when it's up.
Yeah, that was kind of close. If he had waited for Sona, they might have been able to pick up the kill. I don't know if they would have actually, though, even with it. But Sona gets the ultimate, the Ezreal ultimate as well. Delirium going to drop very quickly. The Mystic shot picks it up even with that exhaust.
And the smoke screen.
Yeah, that's the difficulty is they were waiting for the minions to push to the tower. They were ready to farm underneath the tower. That would give Graves an opportunity to catch up, and they just needed to play defensively for like another second. And instead, Soraka just getting kind of caught out at the exact point when she needed to play very defensively. Now Los Pandaros, they have him zoned from the tower. The flash from Ezreal, one more attack, one more Mystic shot or anything. They do grab it.
Wow. Just so, that's the second time they've dove without any outside assistance there on the bot lane. That is ridiculous. You got a lot of damage going down. Actually, no, besides actually looking to farm up his own wolves, will be backing. You got the shield on to Malphite to prevent the fear. Meanwhile, top lane, Jarvan there's a nice little exchange there top lane. But will he be able to kill?
No!
Does get it. There will be a quick exchange. You do get the assist for Hot Pockets survivors, but there's still a trade into jungle and also trade top lane.
Yeah, and Malphite actually doing a nice job keeping close to Morgana because
he dove for it.
Yeah, he did die for it. If Malphite hadn't kept close to Morgana, Nocturne actually probably would have been able to break the bind. He would have been able to dive onto Malphite, get the kill, and then walk away freely, and that would have been brutal. But fortunately, he was just close enough that the bind still hit for Morgana, and it wasn't all for naught. But even so, Jane did go down, and it wasn't even exchanged. Though the double buff on Morgana will help him a little bit.
A little bit. There's the all got the blue buff, so it's actually a refreshed blue buff plus the red buff, so it's not too bad to have there. And yeah, there was a double haymaker there in the top lane. I just had to zoom in on the flaming corpse of Ruff. Like I forget that happens in his death animation.
His desiccated body.
But here goes, whoa! Flash out from the Malphite ult on a huge snap reaction there. Wonderful job from Ezreal to avoid that. That was huge. And cleanse just for good measure.
He didn't really cleanse anything, though, which is kind of funny.
Just out of paranoia, but still, though, not too bad.
Yeah, he just kind of spammed his buttons, but it did get him out of there. He did get the flash just in time, and Nocturne coming in, gets the fear. The Ezreal ultimate almost taking down Soraka. Actually, Sona flashing in for the kill. The auto attack with the passive maybe would have taken it if Sona just turned around for that, but couldn't quite finish it off. Nocturne's actually coming in from behind, though. He's coming in for the blue buff, but we'll see if he actually turns toward that bot lane because Soraka is still sitting there.
Ward on down by the blue buff for Hot Pocket survivors, so Nocturne, he's going to know when it's back up and if anyone's going for it. We'll get spied out. Oh, I think Malphite just peeked out of the bush to let him know he's there. And yes, the pings go down on the side brush there in the mid to let the rest of his team know. And Jarvan with this top lane undefended with one more wave should be able to take out the top tier 1. A little bit extra gold for the rest of the team. One more smack. There you go. That is a 5K lead right now on the 12th minute for WE.i-rocks, and they're just standing beyond the tower here, bot lane, pushing around, killing more time for Nocturne to actually make his way on over. His ult is now back up. Sona ult, followed up, don't even need it. There you go, there is Graves. The Fear Tethers will go down. Is it going to be enough damage? I think there is. One more double kill for the Ezreal here, bot lane. This is a very, very different game from game number 1. At least, Hot Pocket, they had hopes and they had dreams here at the bot lane, but now it's just completely changed.
Yeah, the bot lane was the one lane that they had won. Now they're down by a decent amount, 70 CS in the bot lane, 4-0 and 2 on Ezreal. So 70 CS, 12 minutes in. And then, you know, mid, there's a slight advantage for Vladimir. Morgana's doing a little bit better than the previous game. Top is well under Jarvan's control as well. So they have such a massive gold advantage. Now taking the Dragon as well, very safe. Builds them into a 7K gold lead already in this game. And there's really not a good hope for Hot Pockets to come back into this, because their whole team is built around team fights, and they're not going to be able to get to the team fight phase of the game just because WE.i-rocks is just bullying them around so much.
Ezreal has more than doubled the gold income on Graves. Jarvan is very close to doubling the gold income on Rumble. And it's just pure massacre here at this point. This is rather insane. Jarvan, with all that farm, he's going to be getting very tanky and doing a lot of damage. He's already got the Hex Drinker and the Brutalizer. Ezreal, Bloodthirster first to finish up on him with the Sheen. He doesn't even go for the Phage. He doesn't even need the slow at this point. He's already got Sona for that. That's going to be so much hurt coming in. I don't know how Hot Pockets is going to do anything here.
Yeah, the damage from Ezreal compared with Graves at this point, it means that Ezreal's just going to continue to completely shut down Graves' farm. Like, Graves is just going to, you know, be a shadow of what he was in the previous game. He's going to be so far behind. Malphite's actually walking into it. He actually uses his ultimate onto Ezreal, trying to shut him down, but they just don't have the damage follow-up. Ezreal easily flashes out of there. The Nocturne turnaround, they're going to be able to take down Jane here. Will you go down? Yes, but Tea Time Korea getting the flash over the wall as Jarvan comes in as well. He jumps over the wall. The Cataclysm onto Morgana does pick that up. Graves fortunately able to back off, but they might actually tower dive this. Yeah,
and there's that counter initiation that you were talking about over in Champ Select also. That's where it is, that's the major effect. Hey, Malphite's coming on in. There's the ult. Well, I'm Nocturne. I'm nearby. I'm going to ult, and we're going to take him out. And now Rumble coming on down. Is he looking for a kill? Something onto Ezreal. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get as much damage as he wants to. He's already down below half. He's already at a quarter. And already has to go back. Jeez, Ezreal.
Ezreal can just poke him over the wall, too. He's just hanging out. They can't take him.
He's got plenty of vision, too.
Oh, his Arcane shifts down, though. That's going to leave him vulnerable.
Does he have his flash?
No, he does not have his flash. It doesn't matter.
Here comes Sona with the ultimate. Ezreal ult. Nocturne grabbing a kill, too. You took it both from Ezreal. How rude, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, just baiting them in to pick up those kills. 14-3 for IPL5 right now.
Wow.
They have control of all of the lanes. They have control of all of the map. They're going to be able to push through the mid and you know, try and bully them around. You know, this game is basically over. They can stall some. You know, they have the AoE clearing to be able to, you know, stall the game a little bit, but it's just at this far behind. You know, there's not really a whole lot they can do. Jarvan trying to chase down Herp Derpster. He does get the slow, but turning it around with the Rumble ultimate will be okay. And actually Ezreal trying to pick up the kill on Tea Time Korea. One more Mystic shot gets him underneath the turret.
And even if Hot Pockets do stall, like how long do they have to stall before they even come close to being
like half an hour?
Yeah,
I mean it depends.
I don't want to be here for half an hour.
If they pick up a couple of kills, you know, they can potentially turn it around significantly quicker. But Vladimir is just going to be so strong. Ezreal grabbing it with the ultimate. Ezreal and Vladimir are just so strong at this point. Their entire team is so strong, and they will continue to scale well into the late game. Whereas Morgana falls off some, Vladimir falls off some, Rumble falls off some, and so it's not like there's a point in the game where all of a sudden magically Hot Pockets is going to win. Sunflower lane trying to take them down. He does cleanse through the ignite, trying to turn around Los Pandaros. Can't quite get it. One more Mystic shot would have picked up that kill.
That was very close. I mean, that's good. Well, you laugh now, but you're still how much gold behind? About 3,500 gold behind.
So that laughter turned into tears.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh God. He's more than doubled up. 4,500 gold behind in terms of the ADs. That is ridiculous. Absolutely
he's not going to have any damage in team fights to help his team, and you know, so it's all going to be reliant on the rest of his team's damage, and they just don't have enough either at this point in time.
Yeah, Rumble does not have damage. He's already...
Vladimir taking down Jarvan, actually taking down Herp Derpster up top.
Yeah, Rumble doesn't have the damage because Jarvan's doubled him up also. Morgana
he's going to go down maybe.
No, just not enough. Morgana doesn't quite have the damage either. Well, she does have damage, but it's not consistent, sustained damage. Nocturne coming on in, looking for fear. Sona ult on top of that, gonna be more than enough to take out this Graves. He's gonna try and take the Sona with him, but will not be enough. You got
Morgana could pick up the double kill, though.
You could get that. Morgana coming in to shut down. Starting off with the ult. Second part of the ult gonna proc, but still, after that is done, the pancake coming in from Malphite, picking up Nocturne, but Ezreal and Vlad are here. Triple kill for the Vlad. Huge, huge damage, and this push is going to continue. This tier 3 here in bot is more than likely going to go down, not without Rumble going down first, and Ezreal shifting out of the way of the equalizer. Just take out this tower, take out this inhib also.
Yeah, so they will be able to push pretty effectively on them. Sunflower Lane dropping the turret very quickly. They have no means of stopping him, but he is taking some turret shots. If Graves can maybe get the ultimate off, doesn't have it up actually at the time. So, they will be able to back off. They, can just bully them around, continuing with their golden lead. They should be able to just group as a team. Once they go back and recall, they should be able to group and then just take that bot turret as a team, take down the inhibitor, and use it to pressure the base.
So now Malphite coming on in, looking for damage on Ezreal. Flashes out of the way. The pop of Jarvan does manage to pick up that kill. You got Soraka just trying to stay alive inside the Cataclysm. Not going to be enough. Malphite, where did he go? The long way around just to retreat, but there's still plenty of damage here on World Elite to chunk out this tower, already down to half. Malphite on the outskirts did already recall. He was very low on that. And the minions coming back up. Mid-tier 2 is gone. This is the time for Hot Pockets to retreat. Shield on up on Morgana, does not have the ult quite up yet. Still need to kill a few more seconds. 8-7-6. Getting very close, but as you can see though, Wooly is already looking to back off. Sona slowed. Ult is not up yet, but is there enough damage? You got Vlad with the ultimate. Ignite down onto Rumble. Morgana going down, and Malphite will fall. Also double kill for the Jarvan. Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
And that's likely going to result in an inhibitor. They do have Ezreal. He's a little bit too far away. It's actually going to take him about 15 seconds to get up there. So as a result, they're not going to be able to pressure the inhibitor here. But once they all go and group as a team, they should be able to win, that one big fight that just kind of ends this game. Joker going to be grabbing the dragon. So, that'll just give them a little bit more gold, a little bit more experience, so they can continue to pressure them. But 8-1-2 on Jarvan, 3-1-6 on Vladimir, 7-2-8 on Ezreal, and the one death was really just because he didn't feel like going back to base. He was sitting on a lot of gold, and he just wanted to use his Bloodthirster to heal up.
17K lead as we now approach 20 minutes in the surrender mark. And with everyone dancing, everyone's dancing right here, right by the Nexus turrets. I think
do the hustle.
I think Hot Pockets was just killing time for the 20-minute mark to click. They may just surrender right here, or just let World Elite just take on in through the base. But yeah, this is pretty much over.
Yeah, they will be able to grab this inhibitor fairly easily. Even if Hot Pockets was defending against it, it would go down. But there's the Ezreal ultimate. I think they understand that this is GG. Messiah coming in, trying to grab a kill, but they are invulnerable. There's the surrender, the Nexus going down as they're all spinning around.
Oh,
all lovely.
Oh.
But that is a 2-0 win for World Elite IPL5. The B team for World Elite, they train together, and they will be able to play against CLG now. That is going to be the upcoming match. Should be kind of interesting to see, how they can do against a big-time team like CLG. And
that's the thing too with IPL5 is that they are still relatively new. We had that air of mystery about them. It's like, how well did they perform? What kind of stuff do they run? And they play, fairly standard. They play a lot of what the main A team plays, and the mechanics, as we've seen, are pretty damn solid.
Yeah. Yeah, and the previous qualifier, CLG Prime, they did lose to another Chinese team, Invictus Gaming. So, that would be kind of brutal to go out 2 qualifiers in a row. But I think that CLG is easily going to match up against these guys. It's going to be interesting to see how they can do, but it's going to be pretty tough, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a definite interesting match also. And that's the thing too, is that there's so many other A-list NA teams still in this qualifier who have not yet qualified for IPL5. And if CLG doesn't manage to win this next one, it's going to be, let's face it, a little awkward to potentially not see them there at the live show.
Yeah. No, that would be tough. So, I mean, that's a big possibility already. CLG, Dignitas, and Mono, those are the 3 big names in this final qualifier, and 2 of them aren't going to be able to come in. Maybe all 3 of them won't be able to come, but there is the live qualifier, so it's that's still going to be tough to see all of them competing for one spot. But yeah, we'll see where we're going to go. That's it for this match, though. But we'll be back shortly.
This is going to be definitely a longer commercial break than usual. We do know that CLG Prime, they're in the middle of a show match right now. I think it may have concluded. We're going to check in with them and see what's going on there. But if we have any updates, we will come back up here on stream, give them to you. If things are taking super extra long, we'll put on some video treats for you guys. We will be back in just a little bit, get you some updates, and hopefully very soon, after this extended break, World Elite I-Rocks versus CLG.